When Jack Kirby returned to Marvel after a brief stint with DC in the mid-1970s, he continued exploring ideas about the evolution of mankind based on the pseudoscience of Eric von Däniken. Then word got out that DC was looking to make an animated adaptation of a character he created for them named Kamandi, Last Boy on Earth.
Marvel in turn instructed Kirby to do a new character in a similar vein so that they could rush it into production and hopefully one-up DC.
Trust me, the idea of creating characters strictly for trademark purposes so they can turn them into multimedia franchises was a common occurrence for Marvel throughout the 1970s.
Since dinosaurs were, and let's face it, still really are, popular with younger audiences, Kirby created a prehistoric team of Devil Dinosaur and an early human known as Moon Boy. Kirby intended for the series to be set in an early Earth, and there was still a possibility that dinosaurs and humans could have overlapped. In the series, Moon Boy of the Small Folk tribe intervened when a violent tribe known as the Hunter Folk attempted to burn a T-Rex in a sacrificial ritual. The trauma resulted in the dinosaur turning a bright red and forming a psychic bond with Moon Boy, thus making the two Marvel's first mutants.
Joining other such creatures to claim to be Marvel's first mutant, along the lines of Apocalypse, Mr. Sinister, Namor the Submariner, the band Nickelback, and that one episode of Tiny Toons where they all got drunk.
Devil Dinosaur would gain a small cult following, but would ultimately be cancelled due to low sales. Overall, the title just didn't click with Marvel's main fan base of teenagers who really weren't interested in all ages titles. The two wouldn't disappear for long though, and soon be brought to the present to fight none other than Godzilla, King of the Monsters.
Eventually, everyone from Devil Dinosaur, including Moon Boy, the Small Folk, and the Hunter Folk, would eventually be transported to the present day and set up shop in the Savage Land. Also, you would probably recognize Devil Dinosaur from his appearances in the Hulk Agents of Smash animated series.
Then in 2016, Marvel decided to use Devil Dinosaurs to tap into the youth market again. This time they would pair him up with a 9-year-old science prodigy named Lynella Lafayette. However, instead of running around a prehistoric wasteland, they would be now running around downtown New York City.
I am sure nothing bad could possibly come of that. Anyway, let's look at how the characters of Devil Dinosaur and Lynella Lafayette first meet and what exactly happened to Moon Boy in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Volume 1, BFF.
Lynella Lafayette is a child prodigy who is just stuck in place. She's been rejected from several top-flight private schools, and her vast overknowledge just leads to massive debates with her teachers and derision from her schoolmates who have dubbed her Moon Girl. Really though, she's just a gadget head who wants to work on a Kree omniwave detector so that she can hopefully prevent an oncoming change.
Not the kind of change you think. This is taking place in the events of a storyline involving the Inhumans called Infinity, which, if you recall my review of the series Ms. Marvel No Normal, ended with the Inhumans detonating a Terrigen bomb over the planet Earth. The resulting Terrigen mist began spreading around and causing anyone with latent Inhuman DNA to begin getting superpowers or even changing a physical appearance. Lynella here is trying to avert any of that.
Lynella slips out of her bedroom and goes scrounging through a dumpster when she happens across something that appears to be the Kree omniwave detector. Funny thing though is this is also the Nightstone, an object the Hunter Folk use in their blood sacrifices. Their ritual is interrupted by Moon Boy and Devil Dinosaur, who manage to wrangle the stone from the Hunter Folk's possession. However, the two are briefly separated, which allows reinforcements to jump Moon Boy and begin beating him down. Devil Dinosaur doubles back as the spinning Nightstone opens a portal which sucks up the Hunter Folk. With his apparent last bit of strength, Moon Boy tells Devil Dinosaur to pursue the Hunter Folk and bring back the Nightstone. Back in the present, Lynella's gym coach catches her looking at her Kree omniwave detector and confiscates it, thinking it's a kickball. He spins the orb on his finger, which winds up opening the portal and bringing the Hunter Folk and Devil Dinosaur to the present. The T-Rex goes after the Australopithecus africanae, destroying the playground in the process, leading Lynella to begin chewing the creature out. Realizing that she's in possession of the Nightstone, Devil Dinosaur picks up Lynella in his mouth and carries her off.
Well, this suddenly took a dark and very tragic turn.
Despite Lynella's pleas, Devil Dinosaur refuses to let her go and begins squaring off with the cops. The rampage is cut short when Lynella pulls out a small insect-like drone and pilots it to lead Devil Dinosaur to safety. However, this causes the Nightstone to begin to slip out of Lynella's hands, and as she struggles to regain her grasp, the drone is smashed and Devil Dinosaur runs off after dropping Lynella. Elsewhere, the Hunter Folk take refuge in a subway station where they manage to quickly discern the lay of the land and immediately mug a group of teenagers. Along the way, the group manages to make a baseline translation of all human language.
I do have to admit, it is actually kind of nice to see that the proto-humans can easily adapt to their new surroundings so quickly.
Lunella tracks down Devil Dinosaur's location to the George Brooklyn Bridge, where the beast demands the return of the Nightstone. Lunella points out the reasons why she needs it and storms off, with the dinosaur seemingly obeying her command to stay. Unfortunately, Lunella winds up walking right into the hunter folk. The group covers Lunella's mouth to keep Devil Dinosaur from locating him, takes possession of the Nightstone, and then prepares for a new sacrifice, namely Lunella. That's all halted when Devil Dinosaur manages to locate them and begins squaring off with the hunter folk after placing Lunella on a ledge before she can regain the Nightstone. Unfortunately, Lunella's dreams seem to be crushed as the Nightstone is soon kicked into the East River.
Meaning that the Nightstone is going to be completely melted in about 3 minutes.
The hunter folk scatter as Lunella rips Devil Dinosaur a new one and heads home, where her parents immediately rip her a new one as all the footage of her being carried around in the mouth of a T-Rex is, well, everywhere.
Damn you, social media!
Lunella is immediately put on notice. No more going out alone, try being a kid for a while, interact with the other students, don't argue with her teachers, and if this inhuman thing actually does pan out, they will deal with it as a family. Naturally, Lunella chooses to ignore all of this and slips out of class to head to the ladies' room and use a secret passageway into a fallout shelter that she's turned into a makeshift laboratory/dino kennel. Basically, Devil Dinosaur will help Lunella locate the missing Nightstone so she can use it, and after that, who knows. Unfortunately, in the process of making her way through a lab, it turns out the Devil Dinosaur has accidentally triggered a small gas leak, just as Lunella's science class is doing a demonstration on the theory of combustion. As the school is set ablaze, Lunella is left no other choice but to use Devil Dinosaur to make a makeshift ramp to allow her classmates to escape. That being said, the authorities soon arrive, and they have backup in the form of the totally awesome Hulk.
Amadeus Cho is a teenage science prodigy who managed to strike up friendships with the likes of Hercules, Hank Pym, and even Bruce Banner the Incredible Hulk. Eventually, Cho was able to talk Bruce Banner into transferring the Hulk persona into Cho's body. As the now totally awesome Hulk, Cho has got a better grip of his anger issues and his emotional status and personality traits, while not exactly having a great grip of his societal surroundings, mainly due to the fact that he's kind of a young, naive teenager/young adult. And yes, I am aware that the character now currently goes by the name Brawn in the comics, but here he's still just the totally awesome Hulk.
Lunella refuses to let Devil Dinosaur get taken into custody and tries to explain the situation to the Hulk, which falls on deaf ears as he just moves the child aside. This brings out Devil Dinosaur's wrath, and the two begin fighting, where Hulk finally blasts Devil Dinosaur away with a thunderous bolo punch and begins flexing for the
9-year-olds? Ew.
Lunella's next attempt at explaining her situation to the Hulk is once again halted when Devil Dinosaur, pun fully intended, comes roaring back. As the fire engine becomes a melee weapon, Lunella decides to enter the fray herself and pulls out a couple of new devices. Unfortunately, it's all done in when Devil Dinosaur accidentally steps on Lunella's shotgun and knocks himself out. Afterwards, the Hulk adds more smashing and Lunella begins crying for him to stop as she holds back tears. Amadeus Cho tries to talk Lunella down, and she gives the full explanation of her status as an inhuman. He tries to explain that change isn't always bad, and that people even smarter than him have tried to halt the Terrigen Cloud and failed. It provides little comfort to Lunella as her parents arrive and Devil Dinosaur is taken into custody.
I should point out that the Hunter Folk are now a street gang who have dubbed themselves the Killer Folk, and have recently taken a chunk out of the Yancey Streeters, the old street gang of none other than Fantastic Four member Ben Grimm. Yes, this will pay off at some point.
As part of her new extended punishment, Lunella has to be escorted to school every day by one of her folks. She does spend the next few days trying to fit in at school, which is made easier by the fact the students are grateful for her saving them after the fire. Though, of course, she's also secretly working out a way to break Devil Dinosaur out from his imprisonment, as she's tracked him down to a sub-basement located in the Natural History Museum where, of course, he's listed as being up for dissection. This time, though, Lunella's planned things through a little bit with some new equipment. Unfortunately, it's going to have to wait as her Terrigen alarm goes off. However, this appears to be a false alarm that maybe isn't as false as Lunella thinks, as a teenager she bumped into named Lily winds up being cocooned after exposure to the cloud.
Considering that we never see Lily again, I can only assume that the Terrigenesis has turned her into a dust mite or something.
Lunella suits up and officially dubs herself Moon Girl as she now sports rocket skates, night vision goggles, and several backup gadgets. Elsewhere, Lunella's mother gets accosted at the grocery store by none other than the Killer Folk who have now taken up the protection racket. One named Rachacha picks up a familiar scent off Miss Lafayette, and the gang soon leaves as they notice a full moon in the sky, meaning it will soon be time for another sacrifice. Lunella breaks into the Natural History Museum and attempts to break Devil Dinosaur free while ignoring his enthusiastic licking. When the guards go after Lunella, Devil Dinosaur snaps, breaks free, and picks up Lunella in his mouth once more. The two storm out of the museum and eventually head back to the lab as Devil Dinosaur refuses to leave his new friend. The next day, Lunella tries to play off things casually as her mother drops her off at school, only for Ms. Lafayette to suddenly notice a newspaper with a picture of Lunella and Devil Dinosaur on the front page. Further complicating things is the sight of the Killer Folk gang heading towards Lunella's school. Ms. Lafayette storms back to confront Lunella and begins getting into it with the Killer Folk.
Yes, the newly dubbed Killer Folk still want Lunella for their sacrifice.
Lunella manages to come to her mother's aid and scuttles the Killer Folk off with a few gadgets. She can't go home, though, not until the Nightstone is back in her possession. She heads back to her lab to get Devil Dinosaur and suit up to take on the Killer Folk one final time. Once more, a fight breaks out with the Nightstone changing hands several times. Finally, Lunella manages to grab it with the Killer Folk dubbing the item cursed and running off. Unfortunately, just as Lunella starts celebrating, the Terrigen Cloud hits. She's soon overwhelmed by the mist, and when Devil Dinosaur finds her, she's in the cocoon. Instinctively, he picks the item up and takes it back to the lab where he watches over it until it hatches.
And that concludes our look at Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Volume 1, BFF. How was it? Well, I do think this is a very entertaining story. I think there's some really good, fun moments in this. It's very lighthearted, while still being serious at just the right points. Lunella makes for a both interesting and entertaining character, and this is all coupled with some really nice, light, fun artwork. If I do have any real complaints about this, is that the storytelling does get a tiny bit repetitive. There's a lot of, Lunella does something, Devil Dinosaur shows up, parents misunderstand, Lunella says her parents don't understand, but then doesn't fully explain why her parents don't understand, so no one understands anything. And yeah, that can kind of get tiresome after a while. There's kind of that whole, if you just take 5 minutes to explain something, it would make a whole of things a lot better. Not to mention, it's kind of weird that Lunella is 9 years old, because the way she's acting, you'd think she'd be much older. If you are familiar with or if you're going to be familiar with the upcoming animated series, which has yet to air at this point, you would know that they have recently upped Lunella's age from being 9 to 13, and in a way that kind of makes a little bit more sense, although in reality that whole Inhumans thing kind of flopped, so they're making her more of a mutant instead. But really, it's kind of the same idea. The idea is that she's supposed to be afraid of the changes that are coming when she's already going through these other changes. So the Inhuman thing is making a situation that's already tough, possibly even tougher or worse. So it makes a bit more sense for her to be an early adolescent or an early teenager to that extent. That being said, those are really minor quibbles. This is still a very fun story, and it's obviously a good thing to give to new readers. I'm going to give Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Volume 1, BFF, an A. And with that, let's see what we'll be doing next time on the Random Trade Review.
Hey guys, remember you can help support the channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions. There you can request a trade to be put in the randomizer, aka the cardboard box. And as always, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.